to New Rockstars. I'm Erik Voss, and new details from the set of Fantastic Four First Steps have appeared in the latest promo that reveals some key moments from the film and finally answers some of the questions I've always had about this movie's meta depiction of the Fantastic Four. So I'm going to break down everything you might have missed. And a lot of the new things that we see here in this promo include some new images of the Future Foundation. And it just so happens that I am wearing our Fantastic Four inspired Future Foundation shirt, which is available at our merch store, nerdriot.shop, along with lots of other great designs that support us directly here at New Rockstars. Okay, let's take a look at this promo.
Welcome to the Baxter Building.
Alien life was always a foregone conclusion.
We interrupt your regularly scheduled programming to bring you a special look at Marvel Studios' The Fantastic Four: First Steps.
I've been a huge fan of the Fantastic Four since the beginning. I was a kid reading these comics, so the chance to help bring them to life was too hard to pass up.
And now, for the first time ever at Marvel Studios, we can make a Fantastic Four movie.
Action! We're gonna build this retro future world. Build real sets, real locations. Reed's lab and the Baxter Building, this incredible Times Square backlot set.
Fire it up!
We built practical suits. We are your family.
Just seeing the four of them together is going to be worth the price of admission.
Okay, so this promo opens with the old color TV set turning on, the red hue, the lines, the trapezoidal shape of the picture. These are all what pre-digital television sets looked like, kids. Matt Shakman for WandaVision would use similar aesthetics for that show's marketing and its episodes. He did not use Mephisto, but we got there, kids. We got there. So now we know that this every Sunday night at 7 on the dot footage is part of a televised press tour, a tour of the Baxter Building with Sue Storm. We see the ABC logo. This was the network's first color logo in 1965, and red and blue and green were chosen because those were part of the RBG color scheme of early color TV sets. The fact that it's Sue hosting this tour actually reminds me of First Lady Jackie Kennedy giving a televised tour of the newly renovated White House residence on February 14th, 1962. Fun fact about that, NBC and CBS got it first, but ABC, which is younger, had to wait 4 days later. We see Herbie shaking some martinis. Shaken, not stirred is how James Bond ordered his iconic vodka martinis during the 007 films during this decade. I also just realized that on Herbie's tummy, the letters of his name are spelled out in zigzagging circles. Then the channel flips to Fantastic Science with Mr. Fantastic and his classroom TV set inspired by Mr. Wizard. We barely hear him telling the kids this: alien life was always a foregone conclusion. Whoa! So is Reed saying that from all of my astronomical research, I've either discovered or predicted with statistical certainty that life must exist on other planets? Now, obviously, with the arrival of the Silver Surfer and Galactus, the people of Earth in this movie are going to see in a big way that alien life does exist. So it makes me wonder if this TV program is set after Silver Surfer arrives and Reed is just saying this to reassure the public and the kids? Or is this before Silver Surfer arrives and there are other aliens in the cosmos of this alternate Marvel universe that Reed Richards has witnessed, like Celestials, the Kree, the Skrulls, the Asgardians, people from Xandar? I did bring up the Skrulls because Skrulls were first introduced as villains to the Fantastic Four in this mid-60s run. Or was Reed just tracking the civilization of the Proxima Delphi system, the system that contains the planet that he saw on his star charts Galactus destroyed? Now, this transitions into a broadcast interruption bumper that brings us to the Ted Gilbert show as the curtains open on Ted turning to Applaud. A series of iconic Fantastic Four comic book images and covers flash until we get to this one in the shot, Joe Casey and Chris Weston's first family issue from 2006 that shows Johnny putting bunny ears behind Reed's head. And they recreate that with the actual cast here so that everyone is in the exact same poses. This would be from the team's initial mission that preceded them getting powers, an ANSA flight crew press photo, because they are wearing their original spacesuits and obviously Ben has not yet turned into the Thing. building. Another new shot shows Reed in his later spacesuit, I think, stepping up to the Excelsior spaceship on the launch pad. Then a trio of clapboard sinks include this location that looks like a ferry, and I'm wondering if it's part of the sequence where the thing hauls a ship through the river. We also see a behind the scenes shot of Joseph Quinn on wires during his launch, and it looks like that's his stunt double behind him there. Then some shots of Khosrow Farahani's incredible production design on the set. We see a blue payphone with this dome, I guess, to block out the sound, and it looks like this phone still uses a rotary dial. I love the little details like that. We see part of the set that looks like the Times Square set with the large screen that the Silver Surfer's face will be projected on. Then there's another storefront that shows a Miss Music shop, and the sign is on a big vinyl LP record. We see instruments in the window. On the far left of this shot is Miss Elmer's Beauty School sign. Bethany Elmer was the name of an assistant buyer who worked on this movie. Now at this point, I'm probably trying too hard to connect the dots of the world of Reed Richards in this movie to the production design of the TVA and Loki, and it's because Khosrow Farahani did both of them. But since I've already started down this road of theorizing that the tech Nathaniel Richards used to build the TVA could have come from the retro 60s designs of his ancestor Reed, could the idea to name the TVA's AI assistant Miss Minutes come from this world too? Now that Ironheart is done, I've gotten pretty obsessed with the idea that all of AI in the MCU is an invention by Mephisto, a tool to help people take shortcuts. If so, that puts a whole different context on every example of AI in the MCU, like Jarvis, Friday, Edith, Griot, to Vision, and Herbie, and Miss Minutes. Thank you to BetterHelp for sponsoring this video. There's a normal feeling we all have now and then. Where you are isn't necessarily where you want to be, but when you're so focused on the gap between expectation and reality that it gets in the way of your life, it's okay to ask for help navigating those emotions. If you're feeling therapy might be useful, using BetterHelp can help you get started. A good therapist helps you see that you're not behind in life, you're simply on your own unique timeline. They help you recognize that your identity isn't fixed by some arbitrary deadline, but constantly evolving as you grow. This perspective shift alone can be so beneficial. BetterHelp makes starting therapy easy. Just head to betterhelp.com/newrockstars, fill out a questionnaire, and you will match with a therapist in as little as a couple days. With over 7,000 reviews and a 4.5-star rating on Trustpilot, BetterHelp is a platform you can trust. Click the link in the description, scan the QR code, or go to betterhelp.com/newrockstars and get 10% off your first month of therapy. Moving on, now for the first time we see the inside of the Future Foundation. Through the lobby where the banners of the Fantastic Four hang, the inside shows a blue-lined convention hall modeled on the UN. We see the Future Foundation logo, which is two Fs effing each other in a kind of 69 pose. Nice. And since we know that the Future Foundation is Sue Storm's organization that's kind of a UN, but that's actually successful at keeping peace around the world, you can see flags for various countries around this room. Denmark, Jamaica, Greece, Mexico, pretty sure that's Argentina, Canada way back there, Norway. Now, I have to say there is a certain group of viewers watching my videos way too closely to see if I ever bring up a certain country and what its map looks like in these various fictional movie universes. If you know, you know. But I will note that sure, we don't see a certain country's flag in this shot, but it's also not the entire room. But I only bring it up because the implication from articles that have come out is that World War II in this universe ended differently, without the need for atomic weapons that would have led to a Cold War. And there's also apparently no UN, and maybe Reed's science and Sue's diplomacy stopped the Nazis before they were able to do their worst shit during World War II, and maybe that just put 20th century geopolitics on a completely different timeline in all kinds of ways that I'm sure this movie is not going to address that much. There's also a new shot of an underground location that's kind of hard to see, but I think sitting at that desk in the center there in that brown trench coat might be our first ever look at Paul Walter Hauser as Mole Man. Even if that isn't him, I'm pretty sure this is Subterranea. We see shots and set photos of Reed working in the yellow research section of the Baxter building. Since the most recent trailer showed the huge devices that they set up around the world that beam the white energy into the sky that I think are trying to teleport Earth away, I'm pretty sure we do see Reed's drawings of those devices on other chalkboards and other trailer shots like this. Another shot of the Future Foundation lobby shows banners labeling the four as scientists, heroes, explorers. Another behind the scenes angle of the Times Square set shows a new location, Dom's Diner. So close to Doom's Diner. In the background, we also see Horn's Hardware, Westview Television Appliances, and Attack of the Fungi at the Forum Cinema. The shot of the RKO Theater marquee reads Sunrise in Minsk. Minsk is, of course, the capital city of Belarus. This is directed by George Meredith, starring Emmett James. We see the single occupancy bubble cars. I want one of these so bad. The department store Leighton's, and the front of the Ted Gilbert Show Theater, which says it's celebrating 4 years of the Fantastic Four. Assuming the Fantastic Four's origin year was 1961, as it is in the comics, this confirms that this movie is set in 1965 of this alternate universe. We see some new shots of the scenes where the Fantastic Car weaves through traffic, and then another shot of the RKO Palace marquee reads Dear Margaret, directed by Larry Richardson, starring Diana Kearns, Rita Burns, and Juno Lang. This is beside the theater showing the Sub-Zero Intel film. We see signs for Lucky Charms, the Lone Nomad, obviously not on the Lone Ranger, and Hover Grill, which is one of Reed Richards' inventions probably. And we see how they shot this practically, and it was actually expanded via VFX into the elevated train line explosion sequence that we see in the film. Then a wild news shot, Sue and Reed and Johnny and Ben, that's Eben Mossbachrach in the mocap suit in background there, all in their spacesuits walking down this interesting looking set. I'm assuming this is their arrival on Galactus' ship Ta-2. We also see Eben in the mocap suit in a different shot in the moment when the thing lifts a broken column of the elevated train as they fix it. Another shot shows Johnny on the Excelsior floating with two helmets as Reed hovers over the controls in the background, and we see a shot of the boys all running with Reed's torn suit that ended the most recent trailer. But another shot shows the moment Sue exits the Fantastic Car that might have been part of the same sequence. But we've been talking about this elevated train line attack, which seems like the Fantastic Four are addressing after leaving the Ted Gilbert show, and we are thinking that this is part of the attack that John Malkovich's character is setting off. It's rumored that he either is or was playing the Red Ghost, Ivan Kragoff, an enemy of the Fantastic Four who had some plot involving super intelligent apes. Now, many of you have noticed that after Malkovich's character's very first appearance in the very first February teaser, we have not seen him in any of the marketing. And in fact, John Malkovich's name no longer appears on the billing. We actually see the main cast listed in the title card at the end of this promo. This could be for a lot of reasons. Actors only get this billing when they have a big enough role in a movie, like a certain percentage of a movie's screen time compared to the rest of the cast. Often it's something negotiated by agents as part of how much an actor gets paid even. It could just be that Malkovich's role is too small, like just a small one-scene cameo. Or it's possible that since that marketing, his role has been cut from the movie. And I have a theory why, and it might be a stretch. I really can't say much about it, but I did see an early screening of James Gunn's Superman, and there is something that happens in that movie that makes me think that the gag they might have had planned for Malkovich's character is just too similar, and maybe they cut it down or removed it from Fantastic Four First Steps. Again, I don't know for sure. If I'm right, I'll explain more when I break down this movie on July 25th. We get a new shot of Herbie trying to figure out what voice actor Matthew Wood is saying as Herbie in this moment. There are a few shots of the four together and Kevin Feige promising,
just seeing the four of them together is going to be worth the price of admission.
Like, I hope they're doing something when they're together, but okay, I believe you. We see a new shot of Johnny chasing the Silver Surfer toward the moon. Just a reminder that in the comics, the blue area of the moon is where Uatu the Watcher is located before he warns the Fantastic Four about Silver Surfer and Galactus. I mean, look, everything that comes out for this movie just gets me more excited for it. I cannot wait to see it and to break it down. Also, announcement, New Rockstars now has an audio-only subscription service called NR Underground, where we have some exclusive Danger Room podcast episodes about some off-topic subjects near and dear to our hearts that a small number of you have suggested you are interested in. If that's you, and if you are able, please consider supporting us by subscribing to NR Underground via the link in the description. Comment down below with your thoughts, and a special thanks to one of our YouTube members, Rick Denmon, who supports us at the executive producer level. Huge thank you to you, Rick. Follow me at EA Voss and subscribe to all the channels in the New Rockstars network for breakdowns and news coverage of everything you love. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time. Bye.